Hey guys, Kev here, and I wanted to do a first impressions on my custom Qvist Bladeworks variant. I am very, very happy with this knife, very impressed with this knife, and yeah, I want to talk about it. I also got a left-handed clip version of the production variant from Jacob, who is the designer and maker. These are made by QSP. I have done a first impressions of this knife before, I believe. So I don't know what I'm going to do because I obviously want to do a full review of the custom once the time comes. But I've had a variant PE for long enough now that I think I could review it. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll get into a first impression of the custom. So I've talked about this before, but this knife, in terms of aesthetics, to me, is something that had to grow on me. It wasn't something I thought was gorgeous right off the bat, and I'm just not a big sway back fan, and I'm actually not a big Wharncliffe guy either, or wasn't. And slowly but surely, sheep's foot. I've always liked sheep's foots, but sheep's feet. But Wharncliffe's, I've never been the biggest fan of just because of the way they round down like this. Like, I still don't think the Malibu in Wharncliffe looks good. I much prefer this reverse Tanto version over the Wharncliffe. But here's a size comparison if you want to see that. So it's not a tiny knife. I mean, you got 3¼ inch on the cutting edge. You would suspect it being this design, it would be a smaller knife. That's what I assumed, but it actually fills your hand pretty well. But yeah, real quick, like, this knife grew on me in terms of aesthetics. This knife has grown on me in terms of aesthetics. Let me think, is there anything else that I didn't love off the bat, but then grew on me as it, I wouldn't say I love this, but it definitely has grown on me. The Cormorant, which I need to do a sort of overview on this because I can't review it. I figured out what the problem is with the reverse flick left-handed. I'm on the button. Any low pressure on the button, and you basically render the detent useless because right-handed, it has a pretty decent detent. I would still call it light, but it's not like super light. Watch. Still smacks in there. But left-handed, I have nowhere else to put my finger when I go to flick it. If I try to do this, it just feels weird. So it's not going to work left-handed. Anyway, sorry. So all these designs sort of grew on me. I really kind of like this design. Now, I still wish it just went straight across, but anyway, I just wanted to kind of mention that some designs take time to grow on you, you know, and that's what happened with this one. So aesthetically, I do like it. I like the sway back. I like the look of the whole kind of whoosh, you know, it's got that sort of wavy pattern, reverse pattern type thing, whatever you want to call it, S pattern, I guess, to it, which is cool. The clip is just sort of a standard fold over deep carry, which I like. I mean, it's got perfect retention. It's not hot spotty in either hand. Obviously it flips over, which is awesome. So left-handed, I don't feel it at all. And I'd say the hump back here helps with that, right? So let's get into ergos then. I enjoy the ergonomics on this knife. It's another thing that's grown on me. Never been a sway back fan. But I've sort of found with this knife, it's comfortable in hand. And that hump back here pushing into my palm sort of pushes the blade forward into the cut, which I think is interesting. It's also awesome because it just helps you with your cut. And but you do feel it in your palm, so it's sort of like a hot spot as well. So it's kind of a positive and a negative. I still don't quite understand what people love about the sway back. I know that in a reverse grip, certain grips, like this grip, is perfectly comfortable for me. So I don't know, maybe it was used for certain things, you know, like cutting rope, slashing ropes or something. I don't know. or cutting apples, you know, where you kind of hold it reverse like this and slide through a cut. Maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. But anyway, the ergos are good. You kind of have this little spot right here for the cutout, and I fit one finger in there perfectly. Middle finger slots in there, index finger up top, and then everything else kind of just wraps around. I wouldn't hold it back here, but you could, and it actually is pretty comfortable back here. I just don't like being that far away from the blade edge, so I always climb up, and that's where you're going to see me. No jimping of any kind, which I really like. You'll see the knife is clean of jimping. So yeah, I really like that. Carry, phenomenal. I love now that you can get it in lefty, or you will hopefully be able to get it in lefty once he does the next production run. This is from the original run, and I believe he modded this himself to take the clip. So he let me sort of guinea pig on it and test it out, which is awesome. But it fits in the front left pocket really well. Again, retention's phenomenal. I've had no issues with carry. I mean, deep carry clip, who doesn't want that, right? I mean, some people don't, but I want it anyway. Cutting is absolutely excellent on this knife. This is in 14C 28N. And I mean, got a good edge on it. Again, this one I just got, so I haven't cut a lot with this particular variant PE, but the one I had in from Corey I cut a little bit with, and I enjoyed that as well. They felt pretty similar. I have heard some people say, well, I had one guy say he cut a bit of cardboard and he felt like the knife was dull immediately, and I would venture to guess that it just, his particular example had a burnt edge. Because I actually, on my first nimble, I believe I had a burnt edge on my first nimble because it got dull pretty quick. And then I had my buddy Joe put this edge on, and it's been exceptional ever since. Here's another size comparison for you. 3.1 inch blade on the nimble. So it's kind of in that nimble-y range. Yeah, there you go. So now I'm questioning whether it's 3 1/4. Let's just check it. After I drop the caliper. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm a mess. I'm not good at being sick, and I'm constantly sick these days, so that part sucks. I would call it right at 3 inches, probably. You know, maybe roughly right under. I'd say 3 inches almost dead on. So that's pretty good. I said 3 1/4 earlier. I apologize. I was wrong. It does feel like it, though. I feel like lately 3 inches is bigger than I thought. That's what she said, right? Like this barber here is listed at 2.75 inch blade length. I don't know, man. It feels freaking big. Way bigger than that to me. It feels like it's got at least 3.5 inches on that blade. But it doesn't. Like here, this knife, ow. Sorry. God, Kev. This knife is definitely 3.5 inches. So there you go. It's well under that, and then you have this giant choil taking up space. So 2.75 actually is correct. I measured it, but it just, I don't know, my mind doesn't comprehend things properly sometimes. Because when I got this, I thought 2.75 cutting edge would mean tiny handle, but like I can get a full grip back here. Got some sticking out right there. So it's all a matter of perspective, and you know, you got to hold a knife to truly understand a knife, unless you've handled something extremely similar, because I make assumptions a lot and I tend to be wrong. So that was cutting. Sounds, they're pretty good. It's kind of your basic G10 liner lock sounding knife, if that makes sense. Doesn't have a ton of acoustic to it or anything. Is it milled out inside? Let's take a look. No, there is no milling in there on either side. Shit. Man, I am a mess today, huh, guys? Yeah. All right, so action. that's one thing this knife just shines at. The reverse flick left-handed is phenomenal. You can get in there real easy because you have that full cutout to work with. On this side, that liner is not sticking out very much. That's sort of a compromise he made. The lefty thumb flick on this is awesome. It's actually a bit better than the one on my custom, which I can tell you right now why, and it's because of that liner. See how the liner doesn't even get to where the hole starts? On this one, it kind of covers a section of the hole just a little bit. So you just have less room to get in there and get a good grip to flick it out. I always need to try twice to get it out with the lefty thumb flick. That's also me personally with, you know, I guess maybe sausagey fingers. But yeah, I love the reverse flick left-handed. Thumb flick works well left-handed as well. Right-handed, you can do the same things. Drops pretty well. I'm trying to be careful because my nails are jacked up. Reverse flick is excellent. It drops, shake down. The one I handled from Corey was a bit more drop shut. It was super smooth and droppy. This one's smooth, just not as drop shut. But is there any play? I don't think so. I Loctited it. I'm hoping it's holding. But it feels really good. It's dead centered. And it is smooth, and it's got some drop to it. It's not drop shutty, but it's pretty good, I'd say. I mean, a couple of shakes and you're down. So the action's really good. The detent is just dialed excellently. QSP nailed it with the detent on this knife, which is awesome because I do trust them with the detent. Obviously, because I'm having them make prototypes for our Devo Stout. So overall, it's a cool knife for 60 bucks. I think it's just an excellent choice. The only downside I have on this knife is the lock bar access is just it's really minimal. You do get used to it though. You kind of just use the corner and meat of your finger and push it over. I used to use the corner of my nail, but what happens is your nail just gets destroyed. So I started just using the meat, and it works really, really well. So it's just sort of a little bit of a learning curve there, and then you're good to go. So I can recommend this knife to lefties. I can recommend this knife to righties. Once they come out with the production lefty clip version, it'll be obviously more lefty friendly. It'll basically be an ambi knife minus the lock just being on the right side. But honestly, as a lefty, it's easier to disengage this lock lefty than it is righty because of the space in there. So yeah, I can definitely recommend it. He also has a clip. You can get this and then make it a clipless knife because he doesn't like clips. See, the custom doesn't come with a clip. It comes with a slip. So you can buy the slip from him and then get the clip, get the filler tab, and you're good to go. Obviously, on the new run, if he does the lefty clip, you're going to need 2 of those to get it to work. Will that look fantastic? Maybe not, but on a budgety knife, I don't think it matters. So anyway, that is the Variant PE from Qvist Blade Works. Excellent knife. I love this blue too. It's just got the really nice blue to it. It's kind of like the Wee Banter blue, if you've seen that knife before. So that's the PE. And then that's the full review. This is a first impressions on the custom. So this knife is just gorgeous. It's stunningly gorgeous. It just has that beauty to it with the fat carbon. The action is absolutely astounding. The detent is just butter. I mean, I love it. It's on the stiffer side maybe, but the way his hole is designed, sorry, that's what she said, but the way the hole is shaped and lined up, it doesn't matter. This detent could be twice as strong, and I don't think I'd really have an issue or think it's too strong. It just pops, right? Like when I break the detent, it pops. That's what I want in a knife. That's my perfect detent. I always talk about this. It needs to just pop out when the detent breaks. That's why we always say the Leon Ma Field Duty has the best detent on a knife ever. It just, for a 4-inch blade, basically, it literally just flies out and locks up when it breaks the detent. Just enough pressure to break, and it flies out and shoots up. Just enough pressure to break, and that thing freaking hammers out. It might be better than the Field Duty. I know. I just said that. Oh, it's so good, though. Really so good. But anyway, if you see me comparing it to the Field Duty, that means I fucking love the Detent, okay? The Ergos, again, just like the PE, are fantastic. But I think they're a little better on here. I think it's a little bit slimmer. Yeah, you see those scales are thinner. So you get a little less thickness, which on this knife I think is good. I really like that. Man, it feels so good in hand. I love the feel of this fat carbon. It also weighs absolutely nothing. I have no idea what it weighs, but it's got to be like 2 ounces. I mean, something like that. Crazy like that. Let's check and see if they're the same size as well over here, so I don't have to go measuring everything again. Yeah, I think they're the same exact size. So that's good to know. Well, the handle might be longer on the PEs. Yeah, looks like it might be longer. But I might not have them fully tip to tip here. I don't know. They're very close, though. So, I mean, they're very similar. They did such a good job turning that into a production knife. But yeah, so Detent money, Ergo's money. The blade is just stunning. Originally, I wasn't a fan of the lines, but they had to be there because of the way he makes these, which is probably a reason he could do it for $310. Did I mention this freaking custom knife was $310? I've had another custom knife that cost around that price, and this is night and day, like just leaps and bounds above that. And the edge you put on here is just ridiculous. This is going to sound crazy, okay? And I don't mean that in any way as an insult, because I love Jacob. But this is going to sound crazy. I compare, like, the build quality, the way he went about this and everything, to Oz Machine Company. Yeah, I just said that. Oz Machine Company. He uses the double detent system. He uses Delrin bearings. He puts a freaking mirror edge on your blade when he sends it out to you. He does it all in-house, except for probably the heat treat, like Oz. The action is impeccable. The detent is impeccable. Yeah, I mean, seriously, it in my mind, I'm comparing them to Oz. Like, that's how good these are. That's how good this is. And it's $310. So, I mean, coming out of Minnesota, baby. So, I'm in love right now, obviously. It's a gorgeous knife. And I did take the lanyard off. I wanted to talk about that. So, I have the slip in my pocket. I haven't messed with it too much yet to where I've had to take it in and out of the pocket. So we'll see how that goes because it does bury pretty deep in there. So you have to get the side of it to get it out of your pocket. I just noticed you have that little cutout here, so you should be able to grab it. It does come with a lanyard, but I just hate lanyards. It felt weird having that in my palm. And then when I would deploy it, I would bend it in, right? And I'd be like, okay, now it's in a good spot for me to do that. Then I go to disengage it, and now I got to bend it back out. And I don't know. I just don't like lanyards. It added to the length of the knife, which in this case it doesn't need because I get a good full hand filling grip. It just didn't seem necessary, so I took it off. But I will say in terms of the... that's why. Okay. So I do need to carry it the other way now. Got it. So you see what I mean? Getting it out is going to be hard. You need to carry it this way in the slip when you don't have a lanyard for sure, because now you have that. You can at least grab the edges right there and pull it out. Now I don't know how that's going to work in my pocket. Let's try it. So that corner is facing the other way. So I reach in, pulls it out. I got to flip it over, but that's better than the other way where you can't even get it out. So definitely going to go with that method. And you know what? I may put the lanyard back on, or maybe I could just make a little tail lanyard, just something hanging off of here that I can grip it. Because that was the nicest part of the lanyard. And the reason it's on there, I'm pretty sure, is to get it out of the slip. So you slide it in. Do I have it the right way? No. Yes, I did. So you slide it in, and then you just comes right out of your pocket without the slip. I mean, it was perfect. And I loved that about it. But I didn't love this. And to be honest, I work at home most times. If I'm in the car or out or whatever, I still, play with my knives a lot, but not as much as when I'm sitting at my desk or at home. So I feel like I don't necessarily need to have that quick access to it. I never need to just whip my knife out. Like, I could take my time, put it in, take it out. Like, it's not a big deal. And for a knife of this caliber, in my opinion, again, $310, but I'm just looking at it as a much higher end knife, in my opinion. This thing rivals a lot of knives I have at a much higher price. I did have to Loctite it. It loosened up after like 30 flicks, which was about 30 minutes. But, I mean, you got to expect that on most knives. And I just Loctite it, let it sit for a day and a half, and it seems perfectly locked up. Don't seem to have any issues. So, yeah, guys, needless to say, I'm in absolute love with this thing. And it's one of those things, guys. I didn't know I was going to get it, it wasn't on my radar, and I'm so grateful to Corey at Stafford's EDC, Casual EDC on YouTube, for just saying, hey, man, you should join that lotto. Give it a shot. You might like the knife. And I did, and I won a spot. And, this knife, it's made my day the day I got it. It's still making my day, 2-3 days later. So I could ramble and ramble about it, but it's an awesome knife, guys. I can't wait to get you the full review after a while. This one I think will take a bit because I'm going to carry it a lot. And I don't know, it's just new to me not having a clip, having a slip. That could get, annoying to me. I do kind of wish it had a clip, because the ergos on this one don't bother me at all, having that clip there. It's a very minimal clip. It's a good clip. So I sort of wish you could have had the option to get a clip. But, I like to call him Jacob No Qvist instead of Lundqvist, No Qvist, because he just doesn't like clips. Ask him. He thinks they get in the way, and they do on some knives. Not on this one, but who knows what his clip would look like. So, anyway, that's it, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in for this long, ridiculous video. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your support for the channel and on Instagram and just, communicating with me and all that good stuff. It's been an absolute blast. And you guys really need to check this Qvist out. Qvist Blade Works out, and check out the PE. They are, at least I believe at the time of this filming, they are available at KnifeJoy, these PE versions, and you can watch his Instagram for chances at a custom. He may do another book spot opening type thing, or he's definitely still dropping the Maker's Choice ones. You can try to get in on those drops. Just a fantastic knife for the price on both sides. $310, full custom American-made knife in Minnesota with this slip. $60, I believe. QSP made, G10, 14C, 28N. Oh yeah, this has S45VN steel. Also American. So just really cool. But that's it. I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.